So the dust is settled. Recording this Saturday morning, about 72-ish hours after the trade deadline. Jonathan Kuminga, Buddy Hield, out for Kristaps Porzingis. Porzingis, player that I like, if he can stay healthy, which is the biggest if in the entire world. Not only all the myriad of leg injuries, but he has POTS, a very debilitating uh, autoimmune disease. If Rick Celebrini can get this done, he needs a statue outside of Chase Center right next to Steph. But that's not what I'm really here to talk about this morning. We're also about 2 days out from an awe-inspiring win by our guys down in Phoenix. Just Guy Santos, DeAnthony Melton, Pat Spencer, Al Horford, just all play their asses off. Steve Kerr coached a hell of a game. Anybody that says Steve isn't one of the best coaches of all time is a fucking idiot, and you shouldn't listen to him. After the game, Steve goes to the podium, which apparently, after a loud and raucous celebration in the locker room, said it felt like we won the championship. And I think there's a couple things to take from that. Number one, there's a lot of built-up emotion since Jimmy tore his ACL and the season went sideways. The Jimmy injury is something that I think all of us as fans are still processing. Like we're building in the right direction, going in the right direction. And Jimmy, a guy who's had minor injuries throughout his career but never had the big one, tears his ACL. But I don't think it was mostly that. I think Steve's comments were pointed at the front office. And there's a couple reasons that I think that. Number one, he's been waiting for years for Kuminga to be traded, not because he doesn't like Kuminga as a person, because he hasn't wanted him on the team for a couple years. That win was a big FU to the front office in a lot of ways. Essentially, Steve saying, if you let me do it my way, we will win basketball games. It doesn't matter who's on the court. Steph's not out there. Jimmy's not out there. Steve knows how to win basketball games. But I think the larger point is that over the last 7, 8, 9 years, people have chalked up a lot of what the front office has done to stupidity, naivete. I think it's something way deeper. I think it's malicious. And I think there's two direct things you can point to say that all of this has been planned. Number one, by far number one, is letting Jerry West walk in 2017. Ownership did not offer Jerry a new contract at the end of 2017. He did not want to leave the Warriors. All of you can look that up. It's widely available. You can just Google it. Jerry didn't want to leave. He was shocked that the team was going to let him leave. And we're talking about one of the most iconic figures probably in the history of sports. NBA MVP, NBA Finals MVP, the only guy to ever win an NBA Finals MVP on the losing team, one of the best scouts of all time, an architect of multiple dynasties, 1980s Lakers, 1990s Lakers, 1990s, 2000s Lakers, 2010 Warriors, and they let him walk. And you kind of got to ask yourself, why is that? Joe wants to start making basketball decisions. He wants to put his sons, Kirk and Kent, in the front office. But I think number two, which is way more under the surface, is moving Jim Barnett off of TV. For those of you that have been watching Warriors games for a long time, like myself, Jim was always the voice of reason on every broadcast. For everything that hyperbolic and stupid that Fitz says, Jim would always try to bring it back down to earth. He was going to say what he thought. He was going to give his honest opinion on how the team was playing, how the talent on the court was, essentially in a roundabout way, how the front office was doing. Then you insert Quena, who I like. Quena seems like one of the nicest guys in the world. But they are running state media on every single broadcast. And those of you who watch 99% of games like I do, you can see that. They're never going to criticize the team, the organization at all. And what this points to is, like I said earlier, it's malicious. Again, people want to say this is just, it's an organization being stupid. Joe only wants to win in his way. The reason that Joe is thirsting after Giannis is not because Giannis is one of the best players in the NBA. I mean, obviously, that's part of it. It's a big part of it. But he's thirsting after Giannis because Joe does not want to see another title happen for this team unless it's his doing, unless he can get most of the credit. There needs to be a player who is reasonably better than Steph Curry, could be considered better than Steph Curry, although we all know Giannis is not better than Steph. Somebody else who can get the credit. So in a roundabout way, Joe can get the credit. Joe pulled a stroke of genius, getting Giannis to the Warriors, and that's how they won their next championship. That's why, he wants to offer 4 first-round picks and everything in the cupboard for Giannis, but he can't give 2 first-round picks for Michael Porter Jr., can't give 1 for any other player, because it all has to be about Joe. Think back to the day after the Warriors won the 2022 finals. What's the article that gets published on The Athletic? It's not about how Steph has the ultimate triumph against all odds and Draymond and Clay. Just an absolute heroic finals performance by all 3 guys and Andrew Wiggins and Jordan Poole, Gary Payton, Otto Porter. Add them all in. But it's the triumph of Steph, Clay, and Draymond's career. Nobody thought they would ever be back on the mountaintop again. Counted out after 2019. KD carried them. They needed KD. He saved them. All these things that we all heard for so many years. But those 3 guys, they figured it out one more time. But the article that comes out on The Athletic the next morning, not even 24 hours after they've won the championship, is about how Joe Lacob and Bob Myers' 2-timeline plan spawned this new era of the dynasty. And you got to ask yourself, why is that the article that comes out? It's not about the 3 guys that took Joe Lacob from buying a team in 2011, 2010 that was worth $450 million. And by the point that they won the championship in 2022, they were worth about $8 billion. Essentially made him most of his net worth. Wasn't about that. Wasn't about those 3 guys who are the pillars of your franchise. The guys that will have statues one day outside of Chase Center. Wasn't about them. It was about the 2 timelines plan. So again, people can sit here and say this is, the Warriors front office is inactive. They're scared. They're risk averse, which they all are. They're definitely all of those things. But I don't think it's stupidity. I've thought it's maliciousness for years. And I would implore somebody to prove me wrong on that. Because all of this, from the time Jerry West leaves the organization to Jim Barnett getting kicked off of TV, all of it seemed like it was a plan that was hatched 9-10 years ago to make sure Joe Lacob gets all the credit for everything that happens with this organization, because he can't stand the fact that Steph is the face of the franchise and that he's the reason all this has happened.